Welcome to Steve's World UK. Today I'm at Longleat Estate in Wiltshire. So today Steve Backshall Live for 2025 is part of my world. Steve Backshall's latest residency here at Longleat will see a spectacular range of animals and birds of prey take flight and wow audiences in their custom-built open-air theatre. With an all-new lineup of furry, feathery and fascinating friends, you're going to learn incredible insights into the animal's speed, stamina, survival tactics and adaptation. So come with me and let's take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please put your hands together with a big, warm, Longleat welcome for Steve Backshall! To hear. Awesome. Well, I'm hoping to make it even one notch better by introducing you all to a whole host of awesome, deadly animals, one of which right now has gone where he really shouldn't. Puts the term trouser snake in an entirely different dimension, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Who knows what kind of an animal this gorgeous creature is? Any ideas? A snake. Seriously, you could do better than that. Who knows what kind of a snake this is? A python, very good. Yes, this is a Burmese python. Just pretend like that isn't happening. As I carry on talking, a Burmese python, spot on. But because we are doing things bigger, bolder and better this time round at Longleat, our python is going to be joined by a couple of other friends who are coming out to join us right now. So Jammy over here has an indigo snake, and over here with Aled we have a yellow-tailed crebo. So these guys are going to come up and you guys can see them up close. I'm hoping to convert you all to a love of these spectacular. So this guy here, his name is Monty Python. That's the best joke I have in this whole show. And none of these three species of snakes will take on their prey using venom. How then do they kill their prey? Anyone got any ideas? What do you think? They squeeze them to death. Yes, that's right. They use what's called constriction. And constriction in big pythons like Monty here, they'll grab a hold of their food, wrap some coils around it, and then squeeze it until the internal organs break. And they're so sensitive to the movements of their prey that they can sense their heart. An indigo snake, those are not true constrictors, but they do have the heftiest bite of any kind of snake. They'll grab a hold of their food, and then they'll thrash from side to side, smashing it against tree trunks and rocks until they incapacitate it, and then, like all snakes have to do, they will swallow their food whole. In the case of Monty here, that food is going to be many times the size of their own head. They can eat enormous stuff. Right, now my goal is to make sure everyone leaves today and loves snakes. Such a cracking job keeping the animals so well. We have a massive round of applause for them too, please. Remember that I was trying desperately to get my own catchphrase working. It failed, but I'm giving it another try now. So anytime in this show I say the magic words, "Are you ready for a wildlife feast?" I would like you all to respond with, "Release the beast." Okay, so let's give it a go for our first animal. Are you ready for a wildlife feast? I shall release the beast. And the beast comes in the form of Takora, and Takora is a Harris's hawk. Now, Takora, and actually quite a few of the other birds of prey, have been loving the fact that it is so windy today because they are absolute experts at using that wind to their advantage. When they use their wings like a kite, they can soar without barely having to flap their wings, travelling sometimes at great speed. Now, I'm really hoping that Takora will come on down. Takora! Come on down, Takora. Let's see you at your best. That little shake of the tail there, the shake of the feathers, that's called a rouse. And the rouse is used to align the feathers prior to flight. Quite often they will also do a bit of a squirty poo too, to lighten the load. Is that cool? And it is quite a sight. Yeah, Takora. There we go, zoned in now. Yes! Perfect, great stuff. The Harris's hawk is in many ways the archetypal hawk. They're quite powerful in body. The wings are quite short for a bird of this size, but they are incredibly maneuverable. And they are probably best known for the fact that they are better at working together as a team, as a group with other Harris hawks than any other bird of prey. So they'll come together in groups of as many as 6 birds. First thing in the morning, just after dawn, they'll assemble at an assembly post, 6 birds all together, and then they split. The first 3 birds will fly out through the environment, trying to flush prey out into the open. And when that happens and that prey takes foot, their day is done, because the other 3 birds will chase in, they'll harry it until it's exhausted, and then it'll get finished off by one of the Harris's hawks. Then they all come in and scrabble around and squabble for who gets to feed on the food. The big advantage of that is that in their world, there's quite a lot of large prey sources, things like jackrabbits, which could be double the weight of a female Harris's hawk and triple the weight of a male. So they couldn't take one on their own. But if they're working as a group, as a unit, with other Harris's hawks, then they can be much more efficient and they can take on bigger items of prey. Okay, let's get one more flight, and then I think Kieran will move on. I can sense that the gulls are gathering above. They know there's a predator around. Come on in, Takora. Another shake of the tail, one more time, the bob of the head. Just figuring out where it's going to fly into. It's probably going to be to Kieran, because frankly Takora prefers Kieran to me. But maybe, oh yes, there we go, zoned in. Absolutely stunning. Should we hop him back to you? Nice stuff. Massive round of applause for Kieran and his awesome birds of prey. Now, I do have to wait until Takora is out of the arena before we move on to our next animals, because they potentially could be prey in the form of Bulldozer, who is here with Sam. Thank you very much, Sam. And Tink, who's over here with Alid. So who can tell me what kind of animal I have here? An armadillo. Yes, soft on the inside, crunchy on the outside. Armadillos. And what about Tink here? Any idea what kind of an animal Tink is? A skunk, that's right. And actually, Tink is sometimes known as Stinky Tink. So if you take a little tour around at it, get you a closer look at our 2 animals. Now, despite the fact that they look very, very different, they actually have quite a lot in common. First of all, I would call them deadly very, very much. Sam, massive round of applause for our 2 deadly defenders, for Alid and Sam. Okay, so we are now going to move on from the big, hefty Bulldozer to something much more lightweight. And this, I'm hoping, what do you think, Sam? Might we get a little bit of a flight from Hoxton? Yeah, okay, we're going to give it a go. So let me find my food, because Hoxton is my favourite bird that we have here. Hoxton, come on in. Oh, look at that. That's right, spot on. Hoxton is a great grey owl. The great grey owl has the largest facial disc of any bird of prey. This great round circle of stiff feathers which divert sounds, kind of like a satellite dish, back towards the ears that are buried here underneath all these soft feathers. So in conditions like this, where it's really very windy, they're at a massive disadvantage because they cannot hear their prey. Whereas on a still evening, an owl like this can hear a vole or a lemming scuttling down on the forest floor, or even buried beneath the snow. And then even with snow that is strong enough to bear my weight, they can punch down through that snow to grab a hold of their food when it's below them. So they are incredibly powerful for a bird of this size. And I know they look to be quite big sat here on this perch, but actually most of that is just a shaggy coat of feathers. The great grey owl, beneath all those feathers, is no bigger than a pigeon. But you can see, as the wind blows those feathers to the side, you can see when they flatten down, the bird itself is only about this sort of size. But that great big, stiff, satellite dish of feathers creates an astonishing acoustic super sense that it can use to find its prey. They're also the greatest of silent flyers. So they have special feathers that break up the movement of wind over the wings. He's kind of exposing those wings now. In fact, Sam, he's looking like he's struggling to sit here. Should we give Hoxton a chance to step aside? Isn't he magnificent? magnificent. And those burning yellow eyes, an incredibly handsome bird. Thank you very, very much, Sam. And as Hoxton leaves the stage, thank you very much, you all. I shall release the beasts. And the beasts come in the form of two animals of different scale and size. Over that side, we've got Mango, the mangrove monitor, and this side, the black-throated monitor. And really, I should be going and helping Jamie out, but I kind of get a kick out of watching her do this. Thank you very, very much, Jamie. Okay, so if I can stand side by side with Alid here, get a sense of the disparity in size between Atlas, our black-throated monitor, and Mango, our mangrove monitor. So you can see that despite the fact that physiologically they are very, very similar in size and scale, they could not be more different. This is fully grown, it's a fully grown mangrove monitor, and this here, the biggest lizard found in Africa. So the monitors as a group are, to me, one of the most exciting of all kinds of animals because they are so adaptable. Grubs, eggs, fish. The biggest kind of monitor lizards, which is the famous kimono dragon, can even take things the size of water buffalo. So quite often if there's a crop nest around, you may well have a monitor that's hoping to raid it. Jamie, thank you so, so much. There you go, awesome job. Can I get a massive round of applause for Jamie, Atlas, Mango, and Alid? Okay, super stuff. Right now, the next creatures who are coming out are the most friendly animals we have in this show. It's possible they'll land close to you. So guys, are you ready for a wildlife feast? We will release the beast. And the beast, hello. Hey, excuse me, that's a little bit impatient. These are red-footed falcons. Oh my gosh, you cannot be that hungry, seriously. So what I've got here is the male, and you can see that the female comes over, very different from the female. So when you've got a boy and a girl that are very different colours, as you have with these red-footed falcons, that's called sexual dimorphism. And in the red-footed falcons, that sexual dimorphism sees the male being a slaty gunmetal grey colour, and the female being a charming chestnut. So, kind of like our Harris's hawks, so this is a female here. Like the Harris's hawks that we had in earlier on, they're remarkably social for raptors. You know, generally speaking, raptors tend to be solitary. That's not the case with the red-footed falcon. They are also very, very noisy, as you can hear. They love a chitter-chatter. Very light-bodied, but for their size, remarkably potent and powerful. And like our own kestrel, they are an expert at hovering, so they can turn into the wings they're doing here, flutter those wings in this motion to hold station in position, using their incredible eyesight to gaze down into the grasses below. They have the ability to perceive into the ultraviolet spectrum, which means they can see the urine left behind by things like voles and follow that to its source and to a stunning mousy meal. Come on in. Here we go. There's one more little bit of food here for you. Oh my goodness. That wasn't very kind. Seriously. Impatient, honestly. And you can see there spreading its wings. Classic falcon wings, with the hawks you saw earlier on, as I said, had more rounded wings. Shorter and stubbier with the size of the bird. In the falcon, the wings are much thinner with a pointed end to them. And if you can see up close, you might notice that the beak has a notch in it, which hawks do not have. That notch is called a tomial notch or tomial tooth, and it's primarily used to snap or break the wing, the neck of avian, that is bird prey. Okay, Kieran, I think they've had enough time messing about. Should we try and get them back to the fist? One extra thing that I have to say about red-footed falcons that completely blows my mind is that teeny tiny birds like this are one of the greatest long-distance migrants of any bird of prey. So they'll travel all the way from the very south of Africa, all the way up through the continent, across the Sahara Desert, across the Mediterranean Sea to make their way to Europe, and then do the same 10,000 kilometre journey all the way back again. So you all, it's now time to switch to a true animal oddity. Are you ready for a wildlife feast? I shall release the beast. And this time entering the stage on Alad's shoulders is a very unusual animal indeed. Now I'd love to know if you guys have any idea what Biscuit, this beautiful creature, is. Does anyone know? Very good, sir. Yes, a binturong. Sometimes known as a bear cat, which is a terrible name because they are neither a bear nor a cat. In actual fact, they're in the vivary group, which contains the genets and the civets. But the binturong, every time he comes out here, he gives that little shake of his coat to let us know that he's happy, he's in a really good mood, having a little scratch there as well. And the binturong is an absolute marvel. So these are what's known as an arboreal animal. And arboreal animals spend their whole lives up in the treetops, don't they? And because of that, they are superb climbers. Biscuit, you going to clamber on me? What do you think, Alice? Maybe give him a little bit of a helping hand. There we go. So, being arboreal means that you live in the highest tree canopy. And as they are not only arboreal but nocturnal, to see one in the wild is really, really hard. In actual fact, until I met Biscuit here, the closest I've ever been to a binturong was at least 1 kilometre away and a tiny, teeny dot in the distance. So being able to get this friendly with Biscuit is very, very special for me, I have to say. Now, Biscuit has a party trick because he could... Biscuit, excuse me, I was just about to explain your big moment. Are we ready for this? I want you to show your prehensile tail. You going to do that? How about that? So, like many arboreal animals, Biscuit, the binturong, has a prehensile tail. That is a tail that can be used like an extra limb as a way of holding itself up on branches up in the treetops. Unlike many arboreal animals that are very light-bodied and can bounce from treetop to treetop, they have to descend to the forest floor when they're moving from tree to tree. And so to do that, they have special bendy ankles that enable them to run down even vertical tree bark. Look at him, isn't he awesome? Thank you so much. Thanks, you guys. Big round of applause for Aled and for Biscuit. Okay, we are hurtling you all towards our grand finale. We will release the beasts in the form of these avian aeronauts, the kites. So we have a selection of kites coming out to join us now. Black kites, yellow-billed kites. And these are in the genus Milvus, which includes our very own red kite that we have here in this country. They're all very closely related, and they all have a very similar flight pattern. So they're very easy to recognize on the wing. They have a classic silhouette that includes a forked tail that's constantly moving from side to side like a rudder to steer them in midair. They are experts at catching food on the wing, including fast-flying things like dragonflies and mayflies, and small food like that, they will transfer it. Is that a wild one? There is a wild one. We've got a wild red kite coming in to join the party too. Amazing. So, wow, that was unexpected. So, they can bob and weave to catch their food and then transfer it to the beak when they're flying, or they can come down and snatch things off the ground. If it's large prey, like rodents, roadkill, carrion, they may well carry it to a post and tear it apart. And they are just hypnotic to watch on the wing. So, I was talking about red kites there. I live in the Chiltern Hills, and red kites are our most conspicuous bird. In the 1980s, they were extinct completely. And the reintroduction of the red kites is one of the greatest conservation success stories in the world. Conclusive proof that nature, given a chance, will bounce back, that wildlife can be robust, and that we, with our efforts, can give wildlife another chance. Now, it's going to take a little while for our kites to settle, and they'll be cruising around your heads for a little while yet. But to any of you who've ever seen my wildlife series, Deadly 60, I need your help right now, because I'm going to sum up their attributes and then say they're definitely, and I need you guys to shout back deadly. So it goes like this. The kites, soaring, bobbing, weaving, turning, ultra-maneuverable with their astounding stunning fan-shaped tail. They can snatch a dragonfly on the wing, or they can soar down and grab carrion from the ground. They are one of the greatest conservation success stories, proof, if you should need it, that nature will bounce back given the chance. There is no doubt that the kites are definitely, I said they're definitely, they are unquestionably, yes they are. Thank you all, you absolutely amazing lot. Enjoy the rest of your time at luscious Longleat. A huge thanks to all the keepers and everyone who do such an incredible job here. Check out the merch, we've got some signed books and stuff, and all the very best from me, Stevie B!
Great name and great show. If you get the chance to see the show at Longleat this week, then go. It is absolutely incredible, and all the money raised goes to the Tusk Foundation. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on great future content from Stevie's World UK. Until next time, be safe, be good, be kind and be careful. It takes 24 hours for the world to turn once, but only 2 seconds to like or subscribe to see great future content from Stevie's World UK.